So guys, today in the news, Benin Republic, the soldiers, they attempted to overthrow the government. You know that the president promised to rule only 4 years, only one term. Then he will hand over. But this man ended up finishing first tenure, second tenure. This one is the third tenure. Now the citizens are no longer happy about it, So, citizens are like protesting, and now the army want to take over. So they attempted coup, but it wasn't successful. They cried out to Nigeria government sent fighter jets, and they went there to foil the coup. So this left a lot of Nigerians talking that really, so Nigerians have this kind of power to do this, to do that, to render this kind of services, while these people are disturbing us in our country. People are in the bush, bandits, Boko Haram, ISWAP, ISIS, all of them are in the bush disturbing Nigerians, and they pretend as if they can't, they don't know what to do. So, which means, guys, make I not talk too much. Let's just go and watch what Arise TV said about this. Come, let's go. Don't forget to like and share the video. All right, after this, we are going to discuss. We're going to analyze it on the comment section. Come with me, guys.
To you, viewers. Let's begin what's trending in the Republic of Benin, discussing reactions to the attempted military coup, which was thwarted by the government after soldiers appeared on national television early Sunday morning, claiming to have seized power. A group of at least 8 soldiers, led by Lieutenant Colonel Pascal Tigri, stormed the country's state television, announcing the removal of President Patrice Talon and the dissolution of all state institutions. The soldiers, identifying themselves as Military Committee for Refoundation, declared the suspension of the constitution and all political party activities until further notice. They also claimed to have closed the country's borders, resulting in unrest in parts of the country, with a group of demonstrators chanting "Down with Talon" and expressing support for the mutinous soldiers. Well, barely 12 hours after gunfire first rang out in several neighborhoods in Cotonou on Sunday, Benin President Patrice Talon announced that the coup had been thwarted, stating that the country's armed forces and National Guard remained loyal to the Republic, asserting that they stood firm, recaptured their positions, and cleared all resistance held by the mutineers. 14 people have been arrested in connection with the coup attempt. Well, this attempted coup adds Benin to a growing list of West African nations facing military takeovers. The timing of the coup is significant. Benin is preparing for a presidential election in April that would mark the end of President Talon's tenure after 9 years in power since 2016. And I'll take a post on X from Delta Wire. He wrote, "This trend will keep reoccurring amongst African states unless there is a massive international revolution that compels our leaders to start governing with fairness and equity until they start utilizing resources of the state for the welfare of the people. Africans will keep rising every day in whatever form, shape, or nomenclature until the people start seeing the dividends of democracy. They'll keep being rebellious. African leaders are the problem, and they evolve from amongst us. We're all culpable on this." Well, amid reactions to the failed coup attempt, the coup leader, Pascal Tigri, reappeared in a video which went viral on Sunday, stating that they undertook the mission to free Benin from the dictatorship of President Talon before going on to caution France to stay out of their internal affairs. Well, ECOWAS released a statement on X condemning the coup, describing it as an unconstitutional move, while Nigeria's Ministry of Foreign Affairs stated that it stands in firm solidarity with the government and the people of the Republic of Benin. Subsequently, at the request of President Talon, Nigeria sent us fighter jets and ground troops to take over Benin's airspace and help dislodge the coup plotters, eliciting more reactions. There was a statement that was sent out by Bayo Ononuga. If we can take that statement, he wrote, President Bola Ahmed Tinubu has commended the gallantry of Nigeria's military on Sunday for responding swiftly to the requests by the government of Benin Republic to save its 35-year-old democracy from coup plotters. Well, he went on to state that the Nigerian government acted on 2 separate requests from the government of Benin. First, by ordering fighter jets to enter the country and take over the airspace to help dislodge the coup plotters. And secondly, the authorities in Benin requested the deployment of Nigerian Air Force assets within Beninois airspace for surveillance and rapid intervention operations under Benin-led coordination with Nigeria's Chief of Defense Staff, General Olufemi Oluyode, confirming that all the requests had been fulfilled. And, I wanted to take that response from an ex-user. I'll take that response after I hear from you. I'd love your comments about what has been going on so far, with the fact that, the President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, had, responded to this coup attempt swiftly. And the word swiftly had to be highlighted, really. Go ahead with your thoughts.
Okay, so a number of things this morning. Number one is that Benin Republic is about the same age as Nigeria in terms of independence, gaining independence. Benin Republic gained independence on the 1st of August 1960. However, as you can tell, they haven't been able to fully enjoy the dividends of the democratic system of government they've adopted, since gaining independence. And this, you would see the trend across different countries on the African continent, and particularly the West Africa region, whereby there have been a number of coups. In the Republic of Benin itself, only less than a year ago, 2 close associates of the president were indicted as, a coup was foiled, and 2 close associates of the president were indicted and handed 20 years imprisonment for the attempted coup. A little over a year afterwards, we are now seeing another attempt of a coup. A number of things could have been said would be responsible. OG, number one, of course, is the lack of strong institutions, the fact that the people do not believe that they are enjoying the dividends of democracy. Only last month, the president had, through the rubber stamp assembly, extended the tenure of the presidency limits from 5 years to 7 years, and this was said to be preparing the grounds for his anointed candidate in the next cycle of election, which is meant to take place next year, April of 2026. So these are some of the factors that some people have highlighted as a reason for why their agitations and a small group of influential people, as was described by the foreign interior minister, have come together now to announce this coup. Thankfully, Nigeria rose up to the task as big brother. Dr. Basi said something earlier this morning, which I agree with, because I actually took note of that when it happened. Because one of the reasons, and number one, is Nigeria showing up as a big brother and still that influential force on the West African bloc. But also, very importantly, to sound a note of warning, because we have seen copycat coups along the West African region. That anybody, group, individual that wants to think or has thoughts around this kind of move should know that Nigeria would respond and respond swiftly. That we have a military that's able to counter any kind of coup attempt and would block it. Now, there have been conversations around the legality of Nigerians' movement, and there's been a broad conversation around this. But we'll see whether or not the president will transmit a letter to the Senate before 12 noon, as the deadline given, to be able to let express his invasion, as it were, or help, because they said he received a letter. But again, what people are saying is that, so Nigeria is strong like this.
Let me tell you,
we should be able to do this. I want that same swiftly to be given to the way, of course, we know that terrorism is complicated. It's more complicated than this. But there's some certain areas. It means that we can swiftly arrest the bandits in the forest. We can swiftly get all these kidnappers. Nigeria has the power to do this.
Let me take the tweet about the idea of how Nigeria can respond. This is Chris, who wrote on X. Highlight the word swiftly. Interesting. So Nigeria has the capacity to swiftly defend democracy in another country, yet our democracy is in shambles. A democratically elected governor, Sim Fubara, was illegally removed. Terrorists are decimating our people and stealing their lands. And a brigadier general was killed by terrorists, etc. Well, at this point, I hope that the President of the United States can order the U.S. military to carry out military operations in Nigeria to flush out the terrorists swiftly. And, that was a harsh response. No, I would call it, it would appear harsh on television, but that's really the mindset of a lot of Nigerians who believe that these are the things that are going on in Nigeria. I'm hoping that Nigeria can actually also swiftly respond. Online, we also saw reports that the invasion had occurred. We saw some videos that were posted online as well. That's one of the videos we saw from Cotonou with an actual, time code from that country. And I'll take a post from investigative journalist David Hudeyi, who wrote, I think Nigeria is officially over tonight. Bombing your neighbor because a white guy in Paris told you to. Carrying out airstrikes against a fellow African country because Emmanuel Macron wanted you to. Only Apartheid South Africa ever did something like this. Rufai, let me come to you. A lot of people had been saying that the French president had intervened with that phone call that he made, telling the president that he was going to help with, security in Nigeria as well.
Okay, see, I might not support many things the government on ground does, but we can't pull on Nigeria's parade. It's not today that Nigeria has been investing heavily in securing our fellow West African brothers. We did that in Liberia. Over the years, between Liberia and Sierra Leone, we spent about $15 billion of our own money. So it's not today we've been doing that. The problems we had with it was that the president was supposed to notify the Senate about it. Secondly, the question we should now ask is, there's also a correlation with the case of Niger. That's okay. In the case of Niger, we didn't go in there because there were protests and everything, because of cultural ties and all of that. But the most important question we should ask is, what is leading to all this coup? African leaders themselves. Talon is not his say. See the protests. People were saying, Abba, Talon. Down with Talon. So a lot of people were not really in support of this man. That had victimized a lot of people in this country. He has put in his finance minister as a likely successor now. Just on Saturday, the National Assembly in Benin Republic passed a law saying they're going to extend presidential term and things like that. So the leaders themselves have not crowned themselves in glory. And that's what we should keep talking about. If we keep having these Yahoo-minded leaders on the African continent, and once they get into power, they think life is all about them. And it's not only Talon. We could go back to the days of Matthew Keneku. Keneku also did the same to in Benin Republic. So when are we going to sit down with these leaders, Abba with these leaders? Just like Thomas Sodori and Shankara used to say back in the days, colonialism, Abba, imperialism, Abba. When are we going to say Abba with these bad leaders on the African continent? Because if we don't say that, the coup will continue to happen. Despite the fact that we say we do not support coup, we're totally against coup. The coups will continue to happen if we don't speak to against these leaders that are making the condition rife for these coups.
So guys, you people have heard the whole story, right? You have heard it by yourself or with your 2 ears. You've heard it, right? So you can see that Nigeria, they are good at, helping other people, but they are not good at helping themselves. So we have this kind of power, right? We have this kind of resources. We have this kind of services. We have this kind of, energy, this kind of power, this kind of, Nigeria. See, you can see how they walk swiftly. They say swiftly. But our guests, our children, our school students are still in the bush. This fighter jet, they used to go to Benin Republic. So they can't use it to look for our children in the bush. Instead, they will prefer to negotiate. You see? Instead, they will prefer to go and negotiate with terrorists. Carry money, go give them. Go give bandits. Every time they will carry money, go give them. That's why they are still doing it. Now they can go to another country to do this kind of good job. Swiftly. But they can't do it in Nigeria. Imagine, they can't do it in Nigeria. Chey. You see why Nigerians are tired? They are tired of the whole thing because everything is being politicized. It is obvious. Everything is being politicized, as you can see. They don't need to tell a person. They don't need to tell anybody. Everything is playing live and direct. They can go to Benin to go and do this kind of thing. To foil Coup, to carry all the ammunition, both land and air. But these ones are in our backyard, in the bush here, but they can't go there to fish them out. They will move a whole 300, 500 people to the bush, march them to the bush. But how to retrieve them back will be a problem. They will go and negotiate. They will be giving it to them. They will give him 100 here, 200 here, 20 here, 30 here. They will be giving them out one by one, according to how many ransom they paid. That's crazy. That's crazy. This our government. You people should know what you are doing. Nigeria government should know what they are doing because people no longer trust you people. People no longer believe on you people. So you should know what to do to regain people's trust. Because this one now, it shows that you know what to do, but you just don't want to do it. After they buy a whole general, a whole brigadier, they buy a whole brigadier, nothing happened. That didn't make them to act swiftly, but you can act swiftly to another country. Yeah, the smell. I will see you in the next one. Don't forget to like and share the video. Bye for now.